Welcome to this explainer. Listen, today we're going to completely rethink how we communicate in professional spaces. I am so pumped to dive into this material with you because it draws on 30 years of research that proves we can drastically improve our collaboration, boost our creativity, and make way better decisions by doing just one simple thing: ditching those standard, boring presentation slides.
So let's kick things off with a slightly provocative question. How can we actually use the power of images at work? Think about it for a second. How do you take what's locked up inside your head and make it accessible so your team can actually collaborate with you? For decades, we've relied on just bombarding people with wall-to-wall bullet points. But, as you'll see today, there is a much, much better way to work.
Section 1. The power of visualization at work. You know, when you draw or visualize a concept with your team, you're not just showing them dry data. You're essentially rolling out a red carpet that invites them to co-create with you. Plus, drawing provides this clear, visual red thread that keeps even the most complex conversations focused and totally on track.
Moving right into Section 2, the sandcastle story. To really grasp this, I want to share this incredibly high-stakes story from the researchers' early consulting days. Now, this wasn't some low-pressure academic exercise. We're talking about a massive, multi-billion-dollar market entry analysis for a major corporate client. The pressure was absolutely through the roof.
Picture this. The consulting team had worked tirelessly, grinding out about 40 heavy data-packed slides just to prove to the client that they shouldn't enter this new market. But right before the meeting, the project manager completely shifts gears. Instead of dropping those 40 massive slides on the table, he walks right up to the confused client and shows them one single hand-drawn sketch, a sandcastle.
So why did this one little doodle work better than a literal mountain of data? Well, the manager used that sandcastle to explain everything in an instant. He said the new market was like a fortress, incredibly hard to conquer because of all these patent shields, massive economies of scale, and ironclad contracts. But more importantly, it was a fortress built on sand. It was sinking. The core technology was being replaced anyway, so it wasn't even worth conquering in the first place. The client got it immediately, and just like that, the meeting transformed from a dry, boring lecture into this highly engaging collaborative discussion.
All right, here's our roadmap for the rest of our time together. We just covered the power of visualization and the sandcastle story. Next up, practice 1, make it ugly. Then practice 2, visual metaphors. Practice 3, visual variation. And finally, we'll wrap up with visualize or vanish. Let's dive in.
Section 3, Practice 1. Make it ugly to invite collaboration. Now, I know this might be a bit shocking, especially for the design enthusiasts listening, but your drawings and charts, they actually need to look sketchy, temporary, and kind of low-tech.
It brings up this really fascinating paradox. Beauty is actually the enemy of collaboration. Seriously, think about it. When a deck looks perfectly polished, beautifully aligned, and flawlessly designed, people subconsciously feel like the work is already done. It looks so finished that they feel it doesn't even need their input. We call this the museum effect. You've totally seen this happen in meetings. Someone puts up a gorgeous, finalized graphic, and the whole room just goes quiet. People stare at it like it's a priceless painting in a museum. They nod, they say, "Oh wow, looks great." And literally all critical thinking just stops dead in its tracks. Those beautiful, perfect slides are actually killing your team's feedback. This is exactly why major corporate heavy hitters, I'm talking big banks, telecoms, insurance agencies, they utilize a technique called pencil selling. They intentionally use rough pencil sketches when pitching ideas or products. By signaling that a project is just a work in progress, the client feels invited to jump in, tweak things, and collaborate. And the data shows this approach directly leads to more sales and better outcomes. So for all my bad drawers out there, rejoice. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Moving to Section 4, Practice 2, Visual Metaphors. Use them to anchor complex ideas. Now, charts and abstract diagrams are useful, for sure, but visual metaphors, they are truly magical. Why? Because they anchor completely new, abstract concepts to things that people already inherently understand.
Let's look at the hard proof. There was this fascinating study originally done for BMW Financial Services where researchers communicated the exact same corporate strategy to 3 different groups. Group 1 got your standard bullet points, and surprise, surprise, their recall and enthusiasm were rock bottom. Group 2 got abstract diagrams. They had medium recall and medium enthusiasm. But the third group, they were shown the strategies through the visual metaphor of navigating a mountain pass. Both their memory retention of the strategy and their enthusiasm to actually go out and execute it were incredibly high. Metaphors just stick.
But a really quick word of warning here.
You have to make sure your metaphor matches your audience and your environment. The original researcher shared this hilarious and honestly slightly embarrassing personal anecdote. He was presenting on explosive creativity and used this dramatic erupting volcano metaphor. The problem? He was presenting in a country that was constantly threatened by actual active volcanoes. Not great. So know your audience and choose your metaphors wisely, okay?
Section 5, Practice 3, Visual Variation. Spark chain reactions. This technique is brilliant because it capitalizes on a fundamental human trait, our brain's natural, irresistible desire to complete patterns and sequences. See, when you show a single image, it's static. But when you start varying it, you spark a literal chain reaction.
Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you use a bridge to visualize communication problems on a team. A one-way street on that bridge means a lack of listening. If the bridge is misaligned, well, that's a misunderstanding. If it's totally jammed with traffic, that's message overload. By presenting this sequence, your colleagues will naturally get excited and just jump in to invent their own. Someone might shout, "Hey, what about a car falling off the bridge?" representing an emotional override. Or what if the bridge is shaking, meaning there's a fundamental lack of trust? The visual variation acts as this incredible catalyst for rapid-fire, brilliant team brainstorming.
In this escalating brainstorming technique, it isn't just a neat meeting trick, it's heavily grounded in science. It's rooted in a validated concept called variation theory. The core idea here is super profound. You do not truly understand anything until you can understand it in more than one way. So by tweaking and changing that visual, you are actively deepening the entire room's comprehension of the problem.
You can even use visual variation to fundamentally reframe how we view our entire lives. For example, helping university students rethink their futures. Instead of drawing the standard linear staircase of a corporate hierarchy where success only means moving straight up in salary and title, you can visually map out a non-linear journey. Drawing it out this way helps them realize that often the most interesting, fulfilling careers are dynamic and non-linear. It completely shatters that old, restrictive staircase model.
Well, we are reaching the climax of our explainer today with Section 6, Visualize or Vanish, the ultimate lesson. We've seen the data, we've heard the stories, and we've learned the frameworks. The overarching takeaway here is that mastering visual collaboration is no longer just an optional, nice-to-have skill in the modern workplace. It is an absolute necessity. So, bringing it all together, what are the 3 actionable steps you can bring into your very next team meeting to boost creativity and drive better decisions? Number 1, make your visuals a little ugly and temporary to invite real input. Number 2, anchor your complex ideas with relatable visual metaphors so people get it instantly. And number 3, vary the image to spark that chain reaction of amazing team engagement.
I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. If you want to elevate your team, improve your decisions, and actually get people excited about the work you're doing together, you have to put down the keyboard and pick up a pencil. Break free from that museum effect. Go forth and visualize or vanish. So, are you going to be drawing in your next meeting? Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.